Hello to all fans of Naruto Lemon. I will post all Naruto Lemon Yaoi, Yuri, or Naruko Lemon stories only on the Boosty channel because Uncle YouTube condemns this. Therefore, I invite everyone who wants Naruto Lemon content to my Boosty channel. Good luck.
お前はどこまで見えている俺の死に様か
Konoha is a village hidden in the leaves, a place where many shinobi live. The head of this village is Minato Namikaze, a man with blue eyes and blonde hair. He has a calm character and a sharp mind. His wife is Namikaze Kushina, a former Uzumaki. She is a beautiful woman with an explosive temper, hair the color of spilled blood and eyes of violet with a hint of steel. She is the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, and right now, she is expecting her first child. It is known that the seal holding the tailed beast weakens during the pregnancy of a Jinchuriki, so it was decided that Kushina would give birth in a secret protected base, and only 3 people would be present at the birth, Kushina herself, Minato, and the wife of the third Hokage. They arrived at the site early to prepare everything. The process itself was very painful. In addition to the hellish pain brought by the process itself, there was also pain emanating from Kyuubi's attempts to break the seal. As soon as a child's cry sounded in the room, Kushina sighed in relief. Sarutobi's wife screamed quietly, drawing attention to herself. As it turned out, Kushina gave birth to a little girl, and not a boy, as some doctors had assumed. They didn't have to rest for long. An unknown person in a mask penetrated the secret base, killed the third's wife with one movement of his hand and snatched the child from her hands. The man pointed a kunai at the child, but Minato managed to take it away, which only caused the attacker to laugh. It turned out that explosive seals were attached to the child's blanket, in which Biwako had wrapped him. Throwing the blanket off the little girl, Minato moved outside. A second later, explosions were heard, and not a trace remained of the shelter. Kushina, like the unknown man, was not there. Minato realized that the man had come for the Nine Tails. Minato was never a fool, so he quickly realized that after removing the tailed Kushina, he would die. And judging by the screams and sounds of destruction, the man managed not only to pull out the Kyuubi, but also to subdue it. Realizing that Kushina would not survive the second sealing, he decided to seal the Kyuubi in his little daughter. Minato, with the help of Harem, was transported to his home, put on his Hokage cloak and went to the battlefield. Arriving, he saw a terrible scene. His wife, deprived of strength due to childbirth and the sudden removal of the seal, was restrained by the fox with chains coming from her body. The same man in the mask stood on Kyuubi's head, and the Sharingan sparkled in the demon's eyes. Minato quickly moved to Kushina, telling her his plan. He prepared a place to seal the demon. Minato was about to summon the god of death, but Kushina stopped him, saying that she would do it herself. Because she has nothing to lose. She will die in any case, and the girl needs care. One parent is better than being an orphan. Summoning Shinigami, Kushina sealed the fox in her daughter. While Kushina held the girl in her arms and gave her and Minato advice for the future, he took some of his wife's chakra and sealed it into the girl so that at a turning point in her life, she could meet her mother. After he finished, he hugged his daughter and wife. The last thing she said was, "Naruto, be happy and find yourself a good husband like your father. Take care of yourself." Minato sat with tears in his eyes and hugged his already dead wife and daughter named Naruto, who was quietly sleeping, not knowing that she had just lost her mother. After the Kyuubi's attack, all of Konoha was plunged into mourning. Many relatives and friends died. Minato, along with Kakashi, his student, and Tsunade, Jiraiya-sensei's fighting friend, worked all the time, because little Naruto needed care, and no one cancelled the Hokage's business. Tsunade, having heard about Kushina's death, immediately went to Minato, as she understood that he was busy at work, and had just lost his wife. For a year they looked after Naruto. Sometimes Mikoto Uchiha would drop by with her husband and son, the same age as Naruto. She was a good friend of Kushina and was very worried about her. Also once a month, Jiraiya, Minato's sensei, came for a week. Before her first birthday, Naruto was an extremely calm child, but after that, everyone realized that Naruto had inherited Kushina's personality after all. The girl was running around the house all the time and, by everyone's agreement, all the sharp objects were hidden. The baby was accompanied by Anbu all the time, but even at such a young age, she managed to run away from them without thinking about it. The people of Konoha hated Naruto, but did not touch her because she was the daughter of the Hokage. On her birthday, people got drunk and some came up with the idea of sneaking into the Hokage's house and killing the demon. True, the barrier installed by Uncle Naruto prevented them from doing this. Kushina's brother is the head of the Uzumaki clan, but only a few dozen people remain from the clan. This is how she lived until her 3rd birthday. Then Tsunade left the baby and went to travel the world, gambling. At the age of 3, Naruto increasingly wanted to play outside with other children. But they avoided her and whispered behind her back. Their parents did not allow them to play with her. Adults always treated her respectfully, but as soon as she walked away a couple of steps, they immediately cast a glance full of hatred. Kakashi, who became Naruto's older brother, always protected her from all adversity. Mikoto often came with her son Sasuke. He is slightly older than Naruto and also became Naruto's first friend outside of his family. She often played in the Hokage's office, and it often happened that clan heads with children came to Minato. So she became friends with Shikamaru Nara, who was very lazy, but always agreed to play with her. She also became friends with a cute girl named Ino Yamanako. She always brought flowers to Naruto. She also met a girl, Hinata Hyugo, although she was very shy and therefore at first she was afraid to talk to Naruto. From the age of 3, Minato and Kakashi taught the girl chakra control. Naruto turned out to be a very capable and inquisitive child. And like the sun, she illuminated the everyday life of her friends and family. On Naruto's 4th birthday, she decided to run away from Ino's house to play in a flower shop that belonged to her friend's family. Her birthday was the 4th anniversary of the Kyuubi attack. Many ordinary shinobi were drinking away their grief. She ran past one diner, from which several shinobi came out. She guessed from the green vests that they were either Chunin or Jounin. The girl's intuition screamed about danger. Naruto decided to run away before it was too late, but one of them noticed the Jinchuriki and grabbed her hand and covered her mouth with his other hand. Nobody paid attention to what was happening. Tears ran from my eyes from resentment. The men dragged her into the gateway. The girl began to struggle out of his grip and bit his hand, causing him to hiss curses and hit Naruto on the head, but she only screamed and fell to the ground. Tears began to flow with renewed vigor. Another man stepped on the girl's hand, and bones crunched. This sound was the loudest for the girl at that moment, louder than the laughter of men and the music from the diner. Suddenly her vision darkened, and then she found herself in a strange place. She felt like she was in a sewer. Its walls seemed to glow, but ahead there was only darkness. Naruto rose to her feet and walked forward. The water was very warm and soothing. After wandering a little through the labyrinth of tunnels, she came to huge bars that served as a cage for someone. Naruto ran up to them and stuck her head in, trying to see something or someone. She herself didn't know why she did it. Suddenly, someone hissed from the darkness, causing the girl to jump away from the cage, looking inside in fear. A few moments later, a fox of unprecedented size, with 9 fluffy tails and red eyes, appeared from the darkness. The fox himself exuded hatred, it was almost tangible. Naruto looked into his ruby-red eyes and saw hatred, a little fear and hope there. She decided for herself that she would definitely make friends with him. After all, he must be lonely sitting here alone without the opportunity to talk to anyone. It was probably because of his loneliness that he became so angry. The fox watched in surprise at the changing emotions on the girl's face. He saw on her face admiration, sadness, understanding, and some kind of childish joy, but not disgust, fear, and hatred. Well, when she said, "Fox, what's your name? Aren't you lonely here?" Kyuubi opened his mouth in surprise. "Why did you decide that I would tell you my name? Vile people, no manners. Get out of here." The demon growled and threw Naruto out of his subconscious. Hyubi has been living for centuries, and time has taught him not to trust anyone. But even a demon gets lonely sometimes. Naruto opened her eyes and looked at the ceiling of her room. She didn't understand why the fox was angry with her, but she firmly decided to make friends with him, since he emanated not only hatred but also loneliness. Turning her head to the side, she saw Tsunade, who had arrived to check on Naruto's health, and just in time. As soon as Tsunade returned, her intuition screamed of danger. Running towards the Hokage's house, she ran past the gateway in which the beating was taking place. Hearing the child's cry, she immediately changed course. Running there, she saw Naruto's body on the ground and 3 shinobi. Fury filled the medic's eyes, and she knocked out the men with a few blows. After tying them up so they wouldn't run away, she walked over to Naruto. Picking her up in her arms, she ran towards the Hokage's house. Having treated all the wounds and bandaged Naruto's hand, Tsunade sat down in a chair in the girl's room, after a while falling asleep in it. Naruto tried to get out of bed several times and, already on her feet, she tried to move her right arm. Every movement was painful. Naruto quietly walked up to Tsunade and climbed into her arms. This caused the woman to wake up and see Naruto, noting that at 3 years old Naruto's hair barely reached his shoulders, but now it had grown to his waist. The eyes, the color of the sunny sky, have not changed at all. 6 antennae, 3 on each cheek, remained in place. Over the course of a year, Naruto has grown quite a lot in height. As soon as she saw that Tsunade was not sleeping, she immediately raised her eyes and smiled with all her teeth. And she gave out her favorite. Tsunade-bachan. I missed. All Tsunade's good mood instantly disappeared. Oh, you little one. How many times have you told me not to call me that? Tsunade shouted and began to pull Naruto's cheeks. After a while, Minato and Kakashi flew into the room and began asking about her well-being. Naruto told them about the Kyuubi, who helped heal her, and about the shinobi who attacked her today. Minato and Kakashi said that the shinobi had already received punishment and were stripped of their jonin rank. After this incident, Naruto was always watched. Tsunade left about a month after that incident. Due to constant supervision, the girl began to move away from her friends. Naruto spent almost all her time with her father at work, saying that it was more interesting there than at home. Minato, giving in to his daughter's requests, gave her scrolls with different techniques. At the age of 5, she already knew half of the academy's theoretical program. Very quickly, the Hokage's entourage realized that Naruto was in fact not a demon, but a simple girl who dreams of becoming Hokage and protecting her family. She became a personal son for all the workers of the Hokage residence, who either studied, or trained, or played small jokes. She also became friends with almost all the ANBU guarding her. But her best friends were Raven, or simply Itachi. He has dark hair that looks like silk and eyes of the same color. Loves Dango very much. Sometimes he trained her and taught her simple techniques. Next is the dog, or Kakashi. He has ash-colored hair and dark eyes. One eye is always hidden. Always late. Next is the cat, or Shisui Uchiha. Looks after her very rarely. The latter never speaks to her. Minato said that he is from the root. The boy from root was her age. When Naruto turned 6 years old, she entered the Shinobi Academy. On her first day, all the girls in the class disliked her because of her friendship with Sasuke. At the academy, the latter walked around with a brick face, and as soon as they came to Naruto's home, he became a shy and sweet boy. Also in her class were Ino, Shikamaru, and a girl from Hyuga. Shikamaru introduced her to Chuji, a sweet fat man with a kind heart and a bottomless stomach. She also became friends with a boy named Kiba and his puppy Akamaru. Together they organized pranks. It turned out that Ino was in love with Sasuke, and she suspected that Naruto was also overcome by this tender feeling, but the latter only shrugged it off. Every night, starting from that incident with the shinobi, Naruto, with the help of the meditation that Minato taught her, descended into the subconscious of the fox. 6 months later, Kyubi began to gradually get used to Naruto, and after a whole year, he named his name Kurama. Naruto then, in joy, even hugged the huge fox, or rather tried to do so. After a couple of months, Kurama began to teach Naruto all sorts of not too complex ancient techniques, and also told her about Kushina and even showed her a memory fragment with the woman's farewell words. Naruto then cried into Kurama's tale for a long time. By the age of 8, Naruto had not changed much in appearance. She grew a little taller, and her hair grew to her knees. Her character hasn't changed at all. She was still the sunshine of all of Konoha, some people just didn't know it yet. At the age of 8, she was superior to weaker Chunin, although you couldn't tell from her appearance. When Naruto turned 8 years old, she realized that the academy was boring, and her pain in the required adventure. Calling Itachi, Shisui, and Kakashi, she told them that she wanted to join ANBU. Their part of the plan was to persuade Minato to give Naruto to ANBU, because she would not fit in the academy. Well, Naruto will fulfill their wishes. While her guards went to the Hokage for permission, Naruto went to the Uchiha clan. Entering the clan's territory, she headed towards the head's house. From the atmosphere in the clan, she realized that something was wrong here, and besides, Kurama had warned about the danger at the entrance to the clan. Suddenly Naruto broke into a run. She had noticed that Itachi and Shisui were a little nervous. An atmosphere of discontent hung in the air. Running up to the house, she knocked on the door. Sasuke opened it for her. As soon as he saw Naruto, he immediately rushed to hug her, shouting, "Naruto-chan." Mikoto came down to the cry. Seeing Naruto, she also hugged her. Mikoto invited Naruto into the house and offered her some tea. Sasuke complained all the time about Itachi, because he didn't want to train him. Grunting funny and blushing, Sasuke began asking her about why she came here. Uzumaki said that she came to talk with Fugaku and Mikoto. The woman, hearing this, sent Sasuke into the room. Placing a cup of tea in front of Naruto, she prepared to listen. Naruto told her everything as it was, and Mikoto heard from her what she was afraid to hear. Looking into Naruto's eyes, she saw a cheerful Kushina and could not hide anything from her. Mikoto told Naruto about the riot her husband was planning. When Naruto heard about the riot, she couldn't believe her ears. The girl asked Mikoto where her husband was now. Pointing to the office, the woman followed her with tears in her eyes. She understood that if he didn't listen to Naruto, then he wouldn't listen to anyone else. The whole point of the rebellion is that some Uchihas lack power and are putting pressure on the leader. The head of the clan, in turn, is always obliged to listen to his charges. Naruto knocked on the office door. A quiet command sounded from the other side. Opening the door, she saw Fugaku sitting over a paper. After exchanging greetings, Naruto immediately stated the reason for her arrival. "Fugaku-san, why did you decide to start this rebellion?" Naruto asked in a serious tone. The Uchiha remained silent. "Tell me, do you really want to sacrifice many for the sake of power? Don't you understand that with this decision you will bring hatred, contempt and a whole bunch of unnecessary deaths to your clan? Do you want to be compared to Madara, the personification of hatred? If you don't care about the clan, then think about your children and wife. Do they really mean nothing to you?" She spoke, breaking into a scream and feeling tears begin to roll down her cheeks. The head stared at Naruto in disbelief. The little son was now crying because of him. She defended his clan and never mentioned that he was planning a rebellion against her own father. Naruto adopted her character from her mother, and her intelligence and appearance from her father. If you are dissatisfied with something, or you need help, then just ask my father, or me. I will always be happy to help you, Naruto said almost in a whisper, tears still flowing due to resentment. Fugaku stood up from the table and hugged Naruto, promising to dissuade his clanmates from revolting. Sniffling and smiling widely, she left the office with Fugaku, who smiled warmly at his wife. Mikoto invited them both into the kitchen. While they were having dinner at the fourth, Itachi, Shisui, and Kakashi arrived. Tormented, but happy. The first two, having heard the joyful news from Mikoto about the cancellation of the riot, breathed a sigh of relief. Well, Sasuke didn't understand anything. After dinner, everyone began to leave. Naruto and Kakashi went to the Hokage's house. Minato was already waiting for them at home. Hugging his beloved daughter, Minato began asking her if she was sure of her decision. She said, "Tuchan, I'm sure. I want to become Hokage. And to be Hokage, you need to be a strong shinobi," Naruto said and smiled with all her teeth. Kakashi laughed at this, and Minato realized that Naruto's character was, after all, similar to Kushina's. Kissing his daughter on the forehead, he sent her to bed. Laughing softly, Naruto ran to bed. On the first floor of the house there was a kitchen, an office, a storage room and a basement, as well as an entrance hall, while the second floor housed Naruto and Minato's rooms, one guest room where Kakashi always stayed, and two bathrooms. The Hokage's house was not filled with luxurious items, everything was simple, but tasteful. The furniture is high quality and neat. The girl's room was very simple, a small bed next to a large window, on which there was a pattern applied by Fuin craftsmen. The wardrobe is located next to the door, next to it is a dressing table, as well as a mirror. Running into the room, Naruto fell onto the bed with a happy smile. Somehow the Uchiha clan had become too dear to her. Itachi, Shisui, Sasuke, Mikoto, Fugako, all of them are firmly entrenched in the blonde's big heart. She truly did not understand some civilians who hated the Uchiha with all their hearts. Yes, Uchihas are not very good at showing their emotions, but that doesn't make them bad. Under such thoughts, the girl quickly fell asleep. In the morning. Naruto. Wake up. These sneezes have surrounded your house. Kurama shouted in the girl's subconscious. From such a cry, Naruto got scared and fell out of bed. Aha! Where? Who? Naruto shouted while Kurama laughed at the girl's rather large subconscious. While she was trying to understand what happened, Kakashi ran into the room. What's happened? He said excitedly, running up to the bed. Meanwhile, it dawned on her that one flea rug was just joking. Without realizing it, she began to release heavy ki. Accepted. Understood, said Kakashi, who shuddered so much from the memories that rolled over him. A minute later, he was no longer visible in the room. Naruto, it's just a joke, Kurama said, his voice clearly carrying notes of joy and amusement. Your jokes are bad. Naruto calmed down a little and rose to her feet. She went to the closet and took out a black t-shirt and black shorts. Taking her clothes, she went to the bathroom, humming some unlucky tune. Entering the room, the girl quickly took a shower and changed clothes. She didn't want to play with her hair, so she simply pinned her bangs with her mother's old hairpin. Looking in the mirror, she saw there an 8-year-old girl with hair just below her waist and eyes so similar to the blue sky. She quickly ran out of the bathroom and headed to the kitchen. Kakashi was already sitting there and reading another book by Jiraiya. Good morning, said the girl, settling down next to the man. Kind. Minato greeted, placing the omelette in front of the girl. There is never a good morning, Kakashi said. The man in the pink apron smiled somehow sadly. Itadakimasu, Naruto said. She had already raised her chopsticks to her mouth when suddenly someone knocked on the door. I'll open it, Minato said, heading towards the entrance. Behind the door was none other than Shisui. Good morning, Hokage-sama. Is Naruto-chan at home? Kind. Yes, she's home. I'll call you now. You don't need to call me, she said, smiling at the unexpected guest. I'm already here. Good morning, Shisui-san. Naruto-chan, would you like to go for a walk? Shisui asked. Minato, hearing the guy's remark, glanced at him displeasedly, emitting murderous ki. Naruto, don't you dare mess with the Uchiha. You're too petty for crap like dating and relationships. Kurama held. Who said this was a date? You and Tuchan think too much alike. Intuition. Minato understands, just like I do, that the Uchiha is no match for you. With pleasure. Naruto said, grabbed a small bag and walked up to the Uchiha. As soon as the girl approached Shisui, the latter took her hand and disappeared into Shunshin. Minato didn't even have time to blink an eye, when only swirling leaves remained in the place of his beloved daughter and the genius of the Uchiha clan. The Hokage, of course, had a wonderful mind, but when it comes to his daughter, the mind falls asleep and paranoia wakes up. Kakashi-kun, it looks like we're in trouble, Minato said as he appeared in front of the student. Minato-sensei, what happened again? Asked the copy man and hid his book. I think Shisui-kun asked Naruto out on a date. My girl is too young for a relationship, Minato said, wiping away tears. Minato-sensei, are you sure this is a date? Kakashi couldn't believe his ears. Well, Shisui couldn't ask a girl younger than him on a date. Especially the daughter of the Hokage, whom all suitors were afraid of. My fatherly heart feels that this is true. Therefore, I give you the task of finding them and following them. Having said the last phrase, Minato put his hand on Kakashi's shoulder, who just sighed tiredly. He sometimes felt like Minato was overprotective of his daughter, but he couldn't blame him for that. Hey, Minato-sensei, Kakashi said, getting up from his place. He noticeably calmed down when he heard the student's answer. Then see you in the evening, Minato said as he was transported to the Hokage residence with the help of the Thunder God. Kakashi went in search of Naruto and Shisui. A bit earlier. Shisui and Naruto. As soon as Shisui carried them from the Hokage's house to the park, he sighed in relief. Naruto laughed quietly at this. But the Uchiha had no time for laughter, he would dream of the Hokage's terrible gaze for a long time. Naruto-chan, your father is truly terrible, the guy said gloomily. From the outside, it seemed that this Uchiha was somehow defective, because this clan is famous for its ability to hide their emotions behind a mask of coldness. And this one always smiled welcomingly and laughed. His curly hair always attracted Naruto's attention, who always tried to get her hand into it. My father perceives all guys as a threat, said the girl, shrugging her shoulders. A cheerful smile played on her lips, and her eyes danced. Looking at this spectacle, it was impossible not to smile. The guy did not resist and smiled back. People passing by cast angry glances in Naruto's direction, which only made Shisui grit his teeth angrily. Where are we going? Naruto asked and tilted her head like a curious bird. Shisui, looking at her friend, wanted to smile even more, forgetting about hatred. I would like to thank you and treat you to some dango, but if you want, we can take a little walk before that, the brunette answered. She frowned amusingly, causing a wave of me-ness in her friend. I think we'll eat dango first, and then we'll take a walk. Okay, the guy answered and walked towards the cafe. Naruto walked next to her, thinking about something of her own. Naruto, this Uchiha is defective. However, he is not the only one. Your father's student Obito Uchiha also suppressed his smile all the time and was even more of an idiot. The red hairball shared his opinion. Shisui-san is a good person. He's not an idiot. The blonde was indignant upon hearing the tenant's words. The girl did not have time to notice when Shisui led her to the desired building. He opened the door, letting the girl go forward, to which the bell made a loud sound. They sat down at a free table by the window and began to wait for the waiter. The cafe, by the way, belongs to the Akimichi clan. A minute later, a plump girl with googolins on her cheeks, characteristic of this clan, approached the table. Politely asking for the order, she began to wait for an answer. Naruto-hime, what will you order? Since Kushina was the princess of the Uzumaki clan, Naruto inherited her title. I'd like green tea and dango, please, the girl answered. She involuntarily frowned when she heard the officialdom she hated so much. Shisui could only quietly laugh at this miracle. It's the same for me, the waitress nodded, blushing a little while looking at the Uchiha. Hearing the order, the girl quickly walked somewhere. And she liked you? Naruto sang with a nasty smile, to which Shisui only grimaced. The Uchiha women were too greedy. Naruto-chan, don't put pressure on the patient. Shisui said tiredly, resting his head in his hands. Naruto, looking in his eyes, saw sparks of fun there. The day promised to be very fun. Meanwhile, the waitress had already approached the table and placed a portion in front of everyone. With a flirtatious wink at Shisui, she walked away with a cheerful step. The Uchiha shuddered from such attention, and Naruto, looking at this, could not contain her laughter. When she finished laughing and wiped away a small tear that appeared in the process of laughter, she saw the Uchiha pouting like a hamster. Shisui-san is a hamster, Databao. She sang, popping a ball of dango into her mouth. Look who's talking. The guy said and touched his friend's cheek with his finger, who was diligently eating the sweetness. All the guy's resentment disappeared as if by hand. Following the example of Shirsui's friend, he put a ball of dango into his mouth. By the way, Shirsui-san, do you know when I can start training? Hokage-sama said that you will begin training only when you pass the Genin exam. That is, in about a week. He said all this with an important look, waving a dango stick like a pointer. Hi. Shirsui-sensei. She played the role of a diligent student. At the end of this little performance, both began to laugh. The cafe's visitors glanced uncertainly at these two. Some looked with hatred, some with kindness, and some simply enjoyed the peaceful atmosphere. When the two finished their portions, they paid and went for a walk. Naruto-chan, they might kill me soon, Shisui said quietly as they sat down under a tree. This is not a funny joke at all, Databao. The girl said, sitting down opposite Shisui and carefully looking into his eyes, trying to find at least a hint of a joke there. This is not a joke, Naruto-chan. He said, patting the girl's head with his hand. A tear ran down her cheek and she hugged Shisui. I won't let you die, Databao. She said, pressing herself closer to the guy. He hugged her back and smiled sadly. And then he whispered in my ear. Danzo won't leave me and my eyes alone. The girl raised her head and looked into Shirsui's eyes. There was sadness in the blue eyes, but determination could also be seen there. I can't let my friend die. I want to become Hokage to protect the people dear to my heart. If I can't help you, then what kind of Hokage am I? Moreover, Tuchan doesn't like this person either. I think together we can come up with something. The girl said enthusiastically, not letting go of her friend's embrace. For some reason, Shisui desperately wanted to live. I wanted to protect that little son that was hugging him right now. Shisui did not answer these words, he just kissed the girl on the forehead. Kakashi, watching them, tried to understand the whole situation. After looking at his two friends for a bit, he went to the Hokage residence to tell Minato everything. After Kakashi talked about the situation with Shisui, Minato began to think about how he could help the guy. He saw how his daughter became attached to the Uchiha clan, and the Hokage himself did not want his best friend to lose his nephew. He also couldn't deal with Danzo directly, because he was old. He was cunning and always had several plans ahead. And the old man loves Konoha, although he is strangely protective of it. In the evening, he finished the papers and moved home. He fell asleep right on the sofa. After 10 minutes. Shoo. Hush, Tuchan is sleeping, don't wake him. A girl with blonde hair that glistened under the light of the moon said in a whisper. I'll try, Naruto-chan. The guy said, following her into the kitchen. When these two got into the room and closed the doors, they breathed a sigh of relief. Lucky, Naruto said, putting the kettle on. Naruto-chan, is it okay that I asked to visit you like that? The guy asked, sitting down at the table. I'm only glad to have guests. Naruto answered, smiling with her crown smile. Taking out 2 mugs, she made tea for both of them and took out a cherry pie from the refrigerator. After placing all this on the table, she sat down opposite Shisui. Have you already come up with your wish? She asked, taking a sip from her mug. Not yet, but I'm already halfway through creating this brilliant task. The guy answered with an important look, biting the pie. What are you talking about? Kakashi asked, sitting on the windowsill. Naruto was a little scared, and Shisui waved his hand and smiled welcomingly. Kakashi and Ai-chan, you can't scare people like that, Databeo. Naruto threatened in a loud whisper. A dull thud and a quiet groan of pain were heard in the next room. It seems Minato-sensei has woken up, Kakashi said, not paying attention to the blonde's words. A minute later, the culprit of the noise himself came into the room, rubbing his head. "Tu-chan, are you hurt?" the girl asked, seeing her father's tortured look. Shisui, meanwhile, finished his piece of pie and drank tea. "Good morning, or rather night, Hokage-sama," the guy greeted the man. "Hello, Shisui-kun," Minato greeted, but after a minute, surprise bloomed on his face. "Why are you here?" "I'm drinking tea here with Naruto-chan," Shisui replied, taking another sip. "Tu-chan, you need to rest," said the girl, watching the last one sit down at the table. "I don't have time for this. Shisui-kun, we need to talk about something." Hearing the words of the Hokage, Kakashi headed to the window, saying, "See you again," and jumped out of the window. The gears slowly started turning in Naruto's head, and the realization came that Kakashi knew about her and Shisui's conversation. Minato checked the wiretapping barrier and told the guys what he knew about the case and what he thought about it. After about an hour of talking, Minato decided to assign several ANBU to Shisui to help him if necessary. The Hokage also gave the guy his special kunai and told him to carry it with him all the time. When they finished talking, Minato sent Shisui to the guest room to rest, and he trudged towards his bedroom. After cleaning the kitchen, Naru also went to bed. A week after their secret conversation, Shisui began to notice that the root ANBU stopped pursuing him. Naruto passed the Genin exam in absentia and began training in the ranks of ANBU. Minato was very worried about his daughter, so he appointed 3 of her mentors at once: Shisui, Itachi, Kakashi. The ANBU did not receive her very friendly, but Naruto tried not to pay much attention to them. She received a nickname, Blue-Eyed Kitsune, and a mask with a fox face. Kurama then said that she only needed ears and a tail to complete the set. Naruto also finally fulfilled all 3 wishes. Itachi wished that she would cook him dango every week for 2 months. Shisui wanted her to paint the Hokage's faces, but after she did, they both washed the paint off the rock with wide smiles. Kakashi wished that Naruto would give him a new book from Jiraiya with his signature. After training for a month to become an ANBU, Naruto became even closer to her mentors. She went to training at the ANBU base, but for some reason, she was still enrolled in the academy, despite the fact that she was already a genin. When Naruto was 9 years old, she received her first mission and she simply shone as an ANBU. They had already accepted her and recognized her as an equal. She successfully completed all missions and learned the art of espionage, although she did not like it at all. Shisui was still waiting for a stab in the back from Danzo, while Itachi tried to completely protect his brother and friend from danger. The civilians still continued to hate Naruto, and Kurama taught her some seals. At the age of 10, Naruto began to train even harder, and a library appeared in the Hokage's house with Naruto's light hand. The girl found scrolls with the techniques of the second Hokage in the archives, and began to study them. Every month, Uncle Naruto sent her few ninjutsu scrolls to study, as a result of which the girl began to study such an ancient jutsu with great zeal. Her uncle also gave her a diary with notes from her grandmother. She began helping her father at the residence more and more often, and also learned to cook well and fed her teammates every week. At the age of 11, Naruto learned to create scrolls into which she could seal food. She also learned how to create explosive seals and set up some barriers. While completing the task, she received the title of Chunin, in honor of which she organized a small celebration. Mikoto then walked around all the shops with her, which is why she could barely stand on her feet by the end of the walk. When she turned 12 years old, she did not change much in appearance and in character either. She had gained in height, but still barely reached Shisui's shoulder. Hair just below the waist and 3 antennae scars on each cheek. Her breasts were just beginning to form. 1 week before the Genin exam. Naruto, with the help of the God of Thunder, appeared in the Hokage's office. There was a wide smile on her face. On his feet are black shinobi sandals and orange shorts. She is also wearing a black t-shirt with the Uzumaki crest on the back. An orange sports sweater is tied at the waist. Her hair flowed downwards, held back only by a small clip on her bangs. Blue eyes sparkled with joy. "Hello, Tuchan," the girl said and rushed to hug her father. "Hello, honey. I have a task for you, it is simple, but long," Minato said, hugging his daughter, a soft smile playing on his lips. "Where should I go? To Suna?" Or maybe, Minato didn't let her finish. "You must go to the academy as a student and identify the traitor. You will also get into one of the teams consisting of 3 genin, and in our case, 2 genin and 1 chunin." Minato replied, watching Naruto's reaction. "Cool. Tuchan, I will find the traitor in a few days. And I will also be able to see all my friends, Databeo." Naruto stammered, smiling happily. "I'm glad you like this task," the man said, patting the girl's hair with his hand. At the same moment Kakashi climbed into the office. "Kakashi-kun will take you to the academy." "Okay, see you later," the girl said and jumped out the window. Kakashi shrugged and jumped after her. Naruto was about to jump onto one of the buildings when suddenly someone picked her up in his arms. "Hello, Naruto-chan," Shursui said as he landed on the ground. "Eh? Shursui-san, why did you catch me?" Naruto asked. "What, it wasn't possible?" Shursui built a sad pug. Naruto hugged his neck. "When did you return from the mission?" she asked without letting go of the guy. "Just now. I was heading to Hokage-sama, but I saw you epically fly out of the window," Shursui said, nuzzling Naruto's hair and inhaling the scent of cherries. Kakashi landed next to them. "Naruto, don't forget about the task. They are already waiting for us," the Jonin said without looking up from his book. "I remember." "Shursui-san, please put me down," the girl asked. "Don't want. Let me take you where you need to go?" the guy asked, not looking away from the girl's hair. "I need to go to the academy, so ride my faithful pony, Databeo," Naruto said. Kakashi smiled at the blonde's words. Shursui walked towards the academy, holding the girl tightly in his arms. "Now I know why you need Uchihas." "And why?" "You use them as slaves. I support you in this. But don't forget, a good Uchiha is a dead Uchiha." "Yeah, you. Dead Uchihas are of no use." After these words an approving chuckle was heard from Kurami. "Growing up, button." Meanwhile, they had already reached the academy. "Thank you for carrying me, Shursui-san," the girl said and kissed him on the cheek when he put her down. "Bye." Naruto waved goodbye and walked towards the entrance to the academy. "Bye," Shursui said and disappeared into Shunshin. "Naruto, try not to scare the teachers too much," Kakashi said as he walked next to Naruto. "Okay, but I don't promise anything," the girl said going inside. Kakashi followed and together they approached the desired office. Kakashi knocked and a minute later a man with a scar on his face and a pineapple hairstyle came out to them. "Hello, are you probably a new student?" he asked. Kakashi, meanwhile, walked off into the sunset. "Yeah, Databeo," Naruto said smiling and tilting her head slightly to the side. "Come into class. I'll introduce you," he said and went back into the classroom. Naruto followed into the classroom and felt several eyes on her. The man stopped near the teacher's desk with Naruto next to him. "This," he pointed to the girl. "Your new classmate." "My name is Iruka-sensei, now introduce yourself," Iruka said. Naruto nodded. "My name is Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. I love ramen and working out, Databeo." "I don't like," she thought. "I don't like traitors." Having said this, she smiled sweetly. which is why half of the boys formed a new fan club. Okay, sit next to Shikamaru and Chuji, Iruka said, pointing to the last desk by the window. Nodding, the girl went to her desk, smiling at Sasuke along the way. When she sat down at her desk, Shikamaru looked at her with displeasure. "Forgive me, the sinner," she said in a whisper, closing her eyes. Shikamaru sighed and stroked his girlfriend's hair. She opened her eyes, looking at the guy, who had a slight half-smile on his face. The girl hugged her friend. "Forgive me, you know my father." "Shikamaru, Chuji, forgive me," the girl said, almost crying. "What a problematic woman," said Shikamaru. "Ahem, am I not bothering you there?" Iruka asked. Iruka is one of those who hate the Hokage's daughter, who deigned to come to the academy only in the last week of school. The girl is clearly sitting on her father's neck, who indulges her in everything. And even so, she disrupts his lesson. Naruto shivered under the teacher's gaze. She let go of Shikamaru and sat up straight, looking at the teacher. "Naruto, him too. I know why he hates me." "Naruto, you know it's because of me." "Sorry." The girl looked away from the teacher and looked out the window and saw a raven on a tree branch. Eyebrows went up. Shikamaru was already asleep, but Chuji was diligently eating chips. The teacher said something about techniques for the exam. His hand unconsciously reached out to the pocket of his shorts, in which the protector lay. "Naruto. You are listening to me?" the brunette shouted. The girl nodded. "Yes?" "Then show us the illusory clone technique," Iruka said. Naruto chuckled and went out to the teacher's class. She put down the shadow cloning seals, and there were already two blondes standing in the classroom. "Naruto. This is not an illusionary clone." Iruka shouted again. "And so what?" said the girl, walking to her desk. Iruka muttered something quietly, but he didn't touch her again for the rest of the lesson. When the bell rang, Ino and Sasuke approached the girl. "Naruto-chan, I'm so glad to see you," Ino said and hugged her friend. Naruto hugged her back. "Me too. How are you doing in conquering the topic?" Naruto asked, glancing towards Sasuke. "Shut up, Dobe," Sasuke said. Ino, meanwhile, began to talk about Sakura, who wants to take the beautiful Sasuke-kun away from her. Meanwhile, all the children in the class, except the girls, began to crawl towards the desk where the girl was sitting. "Naruto-chan." One guy was about to ask a question, but the Uchiha interrupted him. "Call her according to her status." "Am I correct, Naruto-hime?" Sasuke asked, looking into Naruto's eyes with Yami in his eyes. "Okay. Naruto-hime, are you really the Hokage's daughter?" the boy asked, looking at the princess. Throughout the break, ask her about her origin and status. By the end of the day, the girl wanted to run away from this academy. Almost every girl in her class hates her, because she smiled at one lousy Uchiha. Arriving home, she immediately did her homework and went to bed. The next day, Shikamaru and Chuji invited her to go for a walk, to which she happily agreed and ran away with them from her last two classes. The three of them went to a small cafe that belongs to the Chuji family. Entering the cafe, they sat down at the farthest table by the window. "Naruto, is it true that you got beaten up on your birthday? And because of this, Hokage-sama did not let you go far from home?" Chuji asked. "Yes. If it weren't for Tsunade-bachan, I wouldn't have gotten away with only bruises and a broken arm. Then I started training and security guards followed me around," said the girl, looking away and looking out the window. "Why did you leave the academy?" Shikamaru asked, looking at the clouds through the window. After that he yawned sweetly. "I got bored, so I decided to become an ANBU. Tuchan was not happy with my decision, but did not stop me," Naruto said. When she turned her head towards the entrance, she noticed Ino. Calling her, the girl invited her to sit next to her. "Naruto-chan, I'm interested in something here," Ino began to say, blushing a little. Naruto smiled and replied. "Ask, I don't mind." The girl, meanwhile, noticed that Shikamaru was already asleep, and Chuji was finishing his third pack of chips. What is the name of the guy who brought you yesterday? And what is your relationship with him? Naruto looked at her friend in shock, but collected her thoughts and answered. His name is Shisui Uchiha. He is Sasuke's cousin and my close friend. He's Sasuke-kun's brother? Now I understand why he is so handsome, Ino said. I thought you were dating. You look so cute together. He is my friend and mentor, nothing more, Databeo. Naruto answered. They sat like that until the evening. When it was already dark outside, she remembered the curfew. Guys, if I don't come to the academy tomorrow, then you know I died a brave death. Now goodbye, I need to run, Naruto said before running out of the cafe. As soon as she crossed the threshold of the house, she saw a nervous Kakashi. Naruto, where are they taking you? He asked. Nisan, don't be angry, I was walking with friends. Said Naruto, after which Kakashi sighed somehow doomedly. Let's say I believed it, but next time warn me or Minato-sensei. He said, shaking his head. I'll try. Saying this, the girl ran to her room. After taking a shower, she went to bed and spent the whole night talking with Kurama about the suspect. The next day was no different from the rest, except that Naruto found one suspect and told her father about him at the end of the day. Minato ordered the ANBU to catch a certain Mizuki-sensei and send him to Ibiki. As it turned out, he intended to steal the Hokage scroll and leave the village. The rest of the week before the exam passed in peace. Itachi and Shisui went on a mission and will only return on the day the teams are announced. All the academy students passed the exam successfully. Naruto was able to make friends with Iruka, and he sometimes treated her to ramen. Now Naruto, along with Shikamaru and Chuji, are sitting in the office and listening to Iruka, who calls out the commands. Team number 7, Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Uchiha. The teacher was interrupted by Sakura's loud cry. Now Naruto did not envy Kiba. With his improved hearing, this scream was simply terrible. When she fell silent, the teacher continued, Naruto Namike Uzumaki. Mentor, Kakashi Hatake. Naruto just grumbled something like, Shikamaru, Chuji, who are you leaving me with, Databeo? Having finished with the distribution, Iruka said. Now sit here and wait for your mentor, Naruto sighed tiredly. Knowing Kakashi, they will have to wait at least 2 hours. As soon as all the students were taken by their mentors, Sasuke sat down with Naruto and said that she was invited to a celebration in honor of their team. 2 hours later, when Kakashi appeared in the classroom, Naruto was sleeping on Sasuke's shoulder, who was trying to hold his face like a brick. Sakura cast envious glances at Naruto. Go up to the roof. We'll meet you there. Having said this, Kakashi disappeared into a white cloud. Sasuke woke Naruto up and the three of them went up to the roof. While sleepy Naruto was climbing the steps, she managed to come up with a plan for revenge on these very steps. Naru, did Madara bite you? No. Where did you get the idea that this is so? In response, the fox remained silent, apparently inventing situations in which Madara, foaming at the mouth, runs after Naruto. When the children went up to the roof, they sat down opposite Kakashi and began to wait for something from him. So, let's get acquainted, Kakashi said. By the way. Sensei, why are you late? Sakura yelled. Kakashi grimaced at this. A black cat crossed my path, he answered. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Kakashi Hatake. What I love you don't need to know. I don't like much. Dream? She's gone. Now you, he pointed to Sakura. My name is Sakura Haruno. I love. A loving look at Sasuke, I dream, again a look at Sasuke, but I don't love Naruto. Okay. Now you, Kakashi said gloomily, after which he pointed at Naruto. My name is Naruto Namike Uzumaki. I love ramen and my family. I don't like betrayal. I dream of becoming Hokage and protecting all my loved ones. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I love my Nii-san and Kachan, author. It smells like incest, and I also love tomatoes. Tomato killer number 1. I don't like it when Nissan runs away from training. I dream of becoming a strong shinobi. Sasuke said with such a serious face. I'm waiting for you tomorrow morning at training ground number 7. You will have to pass the exam. We'll meet at 6 o'clock in the morning. Having said this, he disappeared into a white cloud. Dobe, get up, Kachan is waiting for us. Sasuke said, getting to his feet. But the holiday will begin only in an hour, Databeo. I still have time to go home and change clothes. The girl was indignant, and then rose to her feet. Kachan told me to bring you right after the distribution, we were already delayed. Sasuke said, grabbing Naruto's hand and walking with it towards the exit. Sighing heavily, she followed him. Sakura watched them with round eyes. Team Itachi and Shursui will be at the celebration? The girl asked when Sasuke let go of her hand. Yeah. Kachan also said that she has some gifts for us. By the way, Dobe, do you know what kind of exam this is? Sasuke asked, walking towards the Uchiha quarter. I know. But I can't say what it's about. After all, I am one of the examiners. Naruto said, smiling and winking at the boy walking next to her. Well, Baka, then you've had enough training, and now you won't get away with it. The guy did not miss the opportunity to benefit. Okay, she said, entering the clan territory. Along the way, 2 children greeted and talked to passers-by. The Uchihas asked them how their day went, and everyone somehow looked slyly at the heiress of the Uzumaki clan. But the girl decided not to pay attention to it. Naru, they are up to something. And I don't like it at all. Don't trust the Uchihas, and don't trust this runt either. Escape from this den of demons. You have paranoia in its purest form. Not grateful. I want to help you. They probably want to marry you off to this. Naruto. What are you thinking about? Asked Sasuke. Eh? No. Something happened? Naru asked. Yes. We've already arrived. Grabbing her hand, he went into the house. Ka-chan, I brought her. Mikoto ran out at his cry. Seeing Naruto, she smiled motherly and hugged the teenagers in turn. Naruto-chan, I prepared something for you, said the woman. Naruto's POV. Eh? I opened my mouth in surprise and wanted to say something, but Mikoto-san had already dragged me to her room. When we walked in, she sat me down at the dressing table, while she was looking for something in the closet. Look how lovely it is, she said, getting my attention. When I looked at her, I saw a smile saturated with maternal love. Looking down a little, I saw a yellow dress. This dress is simply beautiful. The top is sleeveless, there is a black ribbon at the waist, the dress itself is just above the knees, the hem is embroidered with black threads, creating a beautiful pattern in the form of mysterious flowers. Woman things. No one is forcing you to read my thoughts. Kurama muttered something else, but I no longer listened, looking at the dress. Do you like it? Mikoto-san's words pulled me out of my thoughts, I just nodded in agreement. She lit up like a light bulb. Then try it on quickly. Eh? I can't accept such an expensive gift, Databeo, I said, waving my hands in protest. Even though I like it very much, I can't accept it, Databeo. She shook her head disapprovingly. If you don't take it, I'll be offended, Mikoto said, turning slightly to the side. Ku, what should I do? Well, you like it, so take it. Freebies are always good. Thank you for your advice, oh great and terrible Kyubi no Yoko. Thank you, Mikoto-san. Having said this, I couldn't resist and hugged her. She's like a mother to me. I can't make her sad. Don't make up excuses. Sly red ass, did you read my mind again? No, you're just thinking too loudly. You're welcome, she said and put her hand on my hair, ruffling it. Suddenly tears welled up in my eyes. So, Stop. Rag, don't cry. Naruchan, get dressed, and then I'll do your hair. You will be the most beautiful on this holiday. I let her go, and took the dress. She left the room for me to change clothes. I quickly took off my clothes. I put on a dress. So stop. Kurama, there's a clasp on the back. How can I fasten it? What is the problem? Ask Makoto to help. Girls. You always make a mountain out of a mountain. I snorted. Makoto had just entered the room. Naruchan, do you need help? I just nodded. She smiled, came up to me and fastened the clasp. Now you are a real princess. The boys will be delighted. Sit down, and I'll do something with your hair. Her words made me blush a little, but I smiled back and said, can we just leave them like that? I want to be like my mother. I lowered my eyes to the floor, afraid to see dissatisfaction on the woman's face. Okay, this won't make you any worse. Just let me put a little makeup on you. After her words, I shuddered. I don't really like cosmetics. Sometimes girls go overboard with makeup and look like warriors with war paint. What if I become like them? Don't worry, I use a minimum of makeup, I exhaled. I sat down at the dressing table. Mikoto-san took and applied something to my eyelashes, and after that she applied a transparent gloss to my lips. It smelled like cherry. I was looking at myself in the mirror, when suddenly she pinned 2 strands of my hair with something. I looked at her in surprise. This is a gift from Fugaku. He chose this hairpin himself. She held the mirror up so that I could see the decoration. A silver hairpin with flowers nestled comfortably in my hair, in the middle of which were small red stones, and several flowers hung on silver chains. She is so beautiful. Thank you very much. Databeo. I got up from the chair. Glad you liked it. Let's go, boys, we're probably already tired of waiting. She reasoned out loud, putting her hand to her chin. I nodded and left the room. She followed him out, closing the door behind her. We went downstairs together and went into the kitchen. Everyone was already sitting there and talking about something. By the way, Mikoto-san herself wore a black dress embroidered with blue threads that sparkled in the sunlight. The Uchiha clan's mon was embroidered on the back. Everyone else was dressed as usual. Mikoto-san coughed into her fist, attracting the others' attention. Fugaku-sama looked at me and nodded to some thoughts of his own. Apparently, he's deciding who to marry you to, my tenant said sarcastically. You are very beautiful, said Sasuke with a tomato in his teeth. Meanwhile, Tachan came up to me and hugged me. You are very similar to your mother. Hearing these words from my father's lips, I smiled. He handed me a small box. I looked at him in surprise. This is a gift, he smiled with his signature smile, and I wanted to explode with happiness. Thank you, he let me go. Suddenly someone hugged me from behind. Raising my head up, I saw Shisui-san, who was shining like a light bulb at night. Naruchan, you are very beautiful. He said. I turned and hugged him back. And whispered a quiet, thank you. He stopped hugging me, and I was about to let him go, when suddenly something cold lay on my neck. With my back I felt how Tachan was burning a hole in Shisui. I felt Shirsui's hands on the back of my head. He was fiddling with something. Looking at my neck, I saw a silver pendant in the shape of a fox, decorated with red and white stones. A minute later, Shirsui's hands were on my waist again, causing the ominous aura behind me to begin to grow. Thank you, Shirsue-san. I felt the blood flow to my cheeks. You're welcome, Naruchan, he said and let me go. I followed his example. Itachi came up to me. Naru, the ends of his hair are pink. Bugaga Shanky. I took a closer look at Itachi's hair and noticed the strange color of my friend's hair. I looked at Shisui questioningly. I'll tell you everything later, Shisui said in a whisper. I nodded. Itachi hugged me and handed me the box. Thank you, Itachi-san. I said. After that, we all sat down in our places. I sat down between Sasuke and Shisui. Sitting opposite us were Makoto-san, Itachi-san, and Tachan. Fugaku-sama sat next to Makoto at the head of the table. All evening we ate the food she prepared and talked about everything in the world. Tuchan and Fugaku-sama got extremely drunk. Makoto-san said that Tuchan could spend the night with them. If you insist, then fine. Then I'll go, I said, after which I put on my shoes and was about to go out when Shursue-san stopped me, taking my hand. He smelled of alcohol. Naruto-chan, I'll walk you home. It's dangerous outside at night, he said, and I nodded. We left the house and walked towards the exit from the clan. There is no one on the street. I decided to ask a question that interested me. Shursue-san, who hurt you? I asked and stopped, looked into his eyes. I saw guilt there. I noticed it after all. Promise that you won't hit me after I tell you, I nodded, suspecting that this idiot injured himself. Just let's talk when we get to your house. Fine. Having said this, I moved on. We arrived in silence, and I invited him into the house. Afterwards we went into the living room and sat on the sofa. Well, where should I start? I received this wound, he put his hand to his stomach, in a very nasty way, when we were returning home. We still had time before the end of the mission, so Itachi suggested we go eat dango. He stopped talking, apparently deciding whether to speak or remain silent. When we ate, there were chopsticks left. I tripped and fell on one of these sticks, which very conveniently got stuck in the floor, he said. My eye began to twitch, and Kurama in the background was yelling at the unlucky Uchiha. Shursue-san, you are a fool, Databeo. I already swung my arms to give this idiot a good slap on the head. But Kurama said that I would beat the last of his brains out. I didn't do it on purpose. Forgive the fool. My friend drawled. And I lowered my hand. Well, okay, live this time. But if this happens again, I will break your arms and legs. I said and threatened with my fist. That's it, I understand, I repent. This won't happen again, he raised his hands up. Who made fun of Itachi's hair? I asked a question and laid my head on my friend's shoulder. Guess what, he said with the smile of a satisfied cat, playing with my hair. How did you manage to do it? I said, yawned, and began to make myself more comfortable on my friend's shoulder. He just threatened to tell someone something very important. Well, when he was sleeping, I decided to update his hairstyle. It suits him very well. By the way, the paint is durable. You can't just wash it off. You really look like a cat. Just as vindictive, Databeo. I said and smiled. Suddenly someone behind us said, Shursue-kun, what are you doing here? I recognized Tuchan by his voice. It gave off a deadly chi, which made my friend turn pale. I'm sitting here, Hokage-sama. But what you're doing here is a mystery to me, Shursue said, and the murderous ki became even stronger. Naru-chan, I think I'll go before my head gets torn off or something else. I giggled into his shoulder. Then I'll see you later, I said before Shursue disappeared into Shunshin, giving me one last smile. Tuchan, he was just walking me home. You seem to have drunk yourself to the point of losing consciousness. I said, changing the topic. I just heard that one impudent Uchiha was taking my little naive girl home, said Tuchan and hugged me, sitting next to me. Kissing me on the top of my head he said. Go to sleep. You have a meeting with the team tomorrow, I nodded. Then good night, Tuchan. He let me go. I got up from the sofa and went to my room. When I walked in, I hurried to take off my new dress and hairpin and went to bed. I took 2 boxes. The gift from Tuchan contained a scroll. I printed it out. It turned out to be a yellow combat kimono with a black hem and belt. On one side was an embroidered mon of the Uzumaki clan. There were also knee-high breeches and black shinobi sandals. After hanging the suit on a hanger, I opened the box from Itachi. It contained books from the Uzumaki clan. I'm so glad that I have such a big family. I put the books on the shelf and lay down in bed, covering myself with a blanket. I fell asleep pretty quickly. In the morning, I was woken up by a knock on the window. Somehow opening her eyes and falling out of bed, she went to the window and opened it. "Dobe, why aren't you at the training ground yet?" asked the subject when he jumped into the room through the window. "Team, Databeo. Kakashi and Isan is still sleeping anyway," I said, crawling under the covers again. "By the way, what time is it?" 8. "Dobe, are you kidding me?" Sasuke shouted when he saw my carcass under the blanket. A minute later, Tuchan is standing in the room. I smiled disgustingly and looked at the pale Uchiha. "Naru, by your grace, there will be one less Uchiha in this world. Tuchan shouldn't kill him, I guess. Well, he will know how to wake me up." Another minute and Tuchan with a sweet smile on his face approaches Sasuke, and he flies through the window towards the sun. "Good morning, daughter," said Daddy, closing the window. "Hello, Tuchan," I said and got out of bed, hugging him. "We need to ask your uncle to put an anti-Uchiha seal on the window. For some reason, they have become more frequent with us." I giggled and nodded. "You get dressed, and in the meantime I'll prepare breakfast." "Thank you for the kimono, Tuchan," I told him when he left the room. I took off my pajamas and started getting dressed. "Naru, where do you think he went?" asked the red-haired tenant when I finished changing clothes. Probably to the distant training grounds, and don't forget that today we have a team of 2 training." "You'll forget this. Maybe we should start training the team of 2 after you become a jonin? Let's see. To be honest, I'm already an ANBU commander, but I haven't passed the jonin exam yet. I have wards, but since I am currently busy with a team of genin, they are under the command of Tenzo. A strange guy, but he's also kind-hearted if you get to know him better. I'm starting to worry about my subordinates." With these thoughts, I didn't notice how I had already gotten dressed and braided my hair into a high ponytail, leaving 2 strands in front. When I went downstairs, Tuchan had already left and left a note on the refrigerator. "Dear daughter, I ran to castrate the Uchihas on very important matters. Your breakfast is on the table, don't forget to run after Kakashi, otherwise he'll sleep through everything. Your favorite Tuchan." I sighed. "So I will never get married. Or rather, there will be no one to marry, only women will remain. My life is a tin." I sat down at the table and started eating. I quickly finished eating and washed the dishes after myself. Having locked the house, I ran across the rooftops to the house of Kakashi and Isan, who was probably still sleeping. Jumping into the house through the window, I began to look for my target. She found herself sleeping on the sofa. How can I wake him up? All options are accepted. I proposed to take advantage of the situation and spoil him. And after that, wake up with a gentle and kind voice. "Friend, your plan is truly brilliant. I suggest giving him a stylish hairstyle," I said, rubbing my hands slyly. Kurama nodded approvingly. After 10 minutes, I stand and admire my work. And it's truly gorgeous. I braided Isan's hair into a whole bunch of small braids, which will take him a very long time to untangle. I also decided to complete the look and painted it. Bright pink shadows fell on his eye. Kurama was frankly amazed by his brother's appearance. I decided to appease Nisan a little by preparing him breakfast. When I finished, Isan crawled towards the smell. "Good morning, Naru," he said, yawning. I somehow restrained myself from laughing. "You can laugh at this ulcerous redhead without holding back." "Who did you call an ulcer?" "Yes, just one rug." "Okay, I'm offended." "Kind. Sit down and eat," I said, putting a plate on the table. Kakashi and Isan began to eat. I decided to keep quiet about his gorgeous appearance for now. Life has become boring. Should I take on some mission? I sat down on a chair, closed my eyes, and went down to my personal ulcer. "Minato won't let you go." Do you think he just put you on a team with a stupid Uchiha and a cloven-hoofed one? Don't know. As for me, he just wants me to be the same as all the children. I shrugged and lay down on Kurama's tails. You're partly right. But his main goal is to protect you. I told you about those Nuke-nin who gather the heirs of the most powerful clans, and you are one of the heirs of the Uzumaki clan and the heiress of the Namikaze clan. The all-knowing fox enlightened me. Yes, I remember. But under the ANBU mask, no one should recognize me. Dumb vessel, the mask will not hide our chakra. I was abruptly thrown out of my subconscious. Kakashi and Isan vigorously shook my shoulders and shouted my name. I would be scared, but his appearance is too beautiful. I started laughing wildly under my brother's surprised gaze. Kurama cackled in his subconscious. Nisan looked too funny. Still laughing, I grabbed Kakashi's hand and moved with the help of Harem to the training ground. Sasuke and Sakura, it seems, were waiting for us on it. A malicious grin blossomed on Sasuke's face. Sakura only blushed, either from shame or from holding back laughter. Sakura handed Kakashi a mirror with a shaking hand. Looking in the mirror, he first turned pale and then blushed. And then I realized that there would be no training. Or rather, it will be, and it's called Catch and Kill Naruto. I looked at Sasuke, who was enjoying this situation. And he clearly doesn't intend to help me. Avenger.ov I shuddered from the wave of murderous ki. While I was thinking about a plan of action, one very joyful shinobi grabbed me and wanted to start talking about how bad I was. But I moved to my father. Finally sticking my tongue out at my brother. After using the technique, I found myself on my father's lap in the Hokage's office. The father himself was sitting in the Hokage cloak at the table, and Sasuke was sitting on his knees in front of him, battered by life. As soon as I found myself in the office, 3 interested glances were directed at me. I began to turn my head in search of the owner of the third sight. Danzo was sitting on the sofa, his gaze making you feel cold inside. But I didn't show my fear, hiding it deeper. Good morning, I said, hugging Tuchan. Good morning, Naruto Harem. I'm glad to see you in good health, the old man said. Out of the corner of my eye I noticed how Sasuke glanced sideways at Danzo, and how he tensed. Good morning, Naruto, my father said, patting me on the head. Hello, Naruto-chan, my friend said smiling. Danzo-sama, I think it's time for you to go, you're a very busy person, said Tuchan. Danzo stood up from the sofa and said. You're right, Hokage-sama. See you later, Naruto Harem. He left the office, and I sighed with relief. I jumped off Tuchan's lap, and at the same moment, Kakashi jumped into the office through the window with a menacing expression on his face. Naruto, Kakashi drawled angrily as he approached the table. Sasuke instantly appeared next to me. Tuchan smiled sweetly at his student, trying not to laugh. Sasuke, without holding back, neighed like a horse, grabbed me in his arms, and jumped out the window. Give me back my daughter. Unhappy pedophile. Daddy shouted. Wahahaha. This is too good. Sasuke, hearing his father's words, grimaced. I laughed loudly, but, out of the corner of my eye, noticing Tuchan jumping out of the window after us, followed by Kakashi and both running after us with burning eyes, I stopped laughing and turned pale. Just looking at Sasuke and his smile, I wanted to do some nasty things to those around me. The distance between us became less and less, and when Tuchan and brother almost caught up with us, Sasuke, along with me, evaporated into Shunshin. We ended up in the cozy house of Fugaku-san. So we very epically appeared in the kitchen of the head of the Uchiha. Itachi froze with his mouth open and a cup of tea in his hands. His pink hair, tied in a pigtail, lay on his shoulder. My eye was drawn to the beautiful pink manicure on his nails. Itachi-san, what are you, a fag? I bowed my head. Has this fashion really captured you too? Or did Tuchan cut something off for you? I asked, taking my time to get out of Sasuke's arms. He trembled slightly, trying not to laugh. I was stupid and looked into the eyes of a guy with blue blood. Kurama save. The answer was the loud laughter of the tailed one. I found myself in a genju and started turning my head around, looking for something, or rather, someone. I turned around and saw Itachi. Kurama, tell me to bury me with Shursui, why should I suffer alone? In response, a new wave of laughter sounded. Hello. I said, turning pale under the angry gaze of the Uchiha. And began to feverishly think about how I could get away from here. Naru-chan, I see you are very eager to check my orientation. He said and smiled sweetly, closing his eyes. He leaned towards me, I felt my cheeks burning. Kia. Pedophile. I shouted and jumped away from the under-gay. Itachi began to approach, and a wall appeared behind me. By putting the seals together, I removed the illusion. Finding myself next to Shursui, I started screaming, Shursui-san, save me. All sorts of sub-gay pedophiles, take away their virginity. I'm too young for this. I hid behind Shursui while he recovered from shock. A second later, Tachan appeared in the house with the appearance of a Shinigami. I castrate. Tachan shouted menacingly and began to approach Itachi. He did not waste time and jumped out of the window. His father with a Rasengan in his hand jumped after him. Turning his head to the right, I saw Fugako, Mikoto, and the stupid theme in the doorway. And here we are, indulging in buns, Shursui said and smiled stupidly. I followed his example and also smiled. Naru-chan, what happened in the genjutsu? Itachi-san wanted to prove to me that he is not gay and that Todo-san did not cut off his genital organ, I said in a calm voice. The jaws of those around them became familiar with the floor. A second later, Mikoto-san grabbed the frying pan and jumped out the window. Fugako-san sighed strangely and went into his office. Dobe, your father almost killed our sensei. Sasuke said as he approached me and Shursui. And our sensei almost killed me. As for me, everything is fair, I shrugged. Shursui sat down on a small sofa and sat me down next to him. Sasuke also sat down, and I found myself between two Uchihas. I'll probably go, otherwise I still have to cook dinner, I said, getting up. Quickly jumping out the window, I ran to save this gay, otherwise the folder would really tear something off for him. There was no pursuit from behind, so I ran, guided by the craters from the Rasengan. There are no people on the street, which means they recently ran through here. While running near the grove, I heard the clink of a frying pan and a groan of pain. Running towards the sound, I saw Itachi lying on the ground with a huge bump on his head. Tachan stood next to Itachi with a kunai in his hands. Mikoto was not there. Tachan, don't hit Itachi-san, he was joking. I said, running up to the half-dead Uchiha. Maybe. Daughter, it won't hurt him at all, especially since you'll have a little sister. Tachan said and smiled sweetly, and I imagined Itachi in a dress. By the way, he had already come to his senses and hid behind my back. Hokage-sama, don't forget about fashion, lesbians are even more popular than straight people, Itachi began to say, but I hit him in the stomach with my elbow, silencing him. Tusan, please forgive him, I said, clasping my hands and starting to cry. Okay, then the caster, ahem. I'll talk to him. Now I need to go back, because the elders are supposed to come today. Tachan said and disappeared with the help of the thunder god. Itachi, do you want to die? I asked, helping him to his feet. I shook my head and moved us with the help of Hiraishin to Fugako's house. When we got there, we saw Sasuke, who was trying to prove something to Shursui. Having thrown Itachi onto them, I disappeared again. I stayed at home for the rest of the day. Kakashi didn't come to take revenge, which made me worry. Shikamaru and Chuji came and invited me to take a walk and eat tomorrow. In the morning, I slept peacefully, seeing wonderful dreams about how I became Hokage, ate only ramen and had my own harem. It's a pity that it was just a dream. I woke up to the ringing of the alarm clock, cursing the creator of this device, got tangled in the blanket and fell out of bed. Thinking that the day was going to be terrible, I got up and stomped into the bath. Having taken a shower and washed my hair in one towel, I began to look for my kimono. Kurama was laughing at something that made me a little uncomfortable. This asshole is clearly hiding something. Finally getting dressed, I went to the mirror to comb my hair. But then I got a shock. A moment later, all of Konoha heard my scream. Ah? My hair? I looked at my hair in the mirror and touched it to see if it was an illusion. Naru-chan, have you decided to change your image? Shursui's voice sounded behind me, causing me to flinch and squeal quietly. Shursui-san, you can't scare me like that, I said and turned to face Shursui. The fox laughed in his subconscious, but I didn't find it funny. It suits you, he said and touched my, now red, hair. I'm wondering who this daredevil is who made such a cruel joke. After Shursui-san's words, the realization came into my head that there were only two individuals who could do this. And this is Kurama and older brother. It's not me. I have no motive. Moreover, your father will get me even in a cage. I have no desire to see him. So be it, I'll believe it. So Kakashi, etc. him. Shursui-san, I know who did it, or at least I can guess, I said looking into Shursui's eyes. Sparkles of merriment began to sparkle in his eyes. And I'm sure the same sparkles are dancing in my eyes. I took my hair from Shursui's raking hands and braided it into a high ponytail, leaving two front strands. Looking at the clock, my eyes became the size of saucers, because I should have been in the Hokage's office with the team for about 10 minutes. Shursui-san, save me, I urgently need to go to Tuchan's office, I said, spinning sharply in place and looking at Shursui. He shrugged, came closer, and took my hand. A moment later, we were already in the office, where my team was already located. Tuchan raised an eyebrow in surprise when he noticed the color of my hair. Team looked at me with interest, Sakura got angry for some reason, Kakashi let out a chuckle. At the same moment, I made a sad face, tears came to my eyes, letting go of Shursui's hand, I ran to Tuchan's chair and hugged him, burying my nose in his chest. Tuchan, Kakashi and I-san dyed my hair, I said, my voice trembling with tears. A murderous key began to emanate from my father. I sobbed a little louder than necessary, out of the corner of my ear I heard Shursui's attempts not to laugh. Daughter, choose a mission for your team and explain it to the guys. Shursui-kun help her. In the meantime I'll talk to Kakashi-kun, said Daddy, smiling sweetly and getting up from his chair. I let him go and walked over to Shursui, hugging him and masking my laughter as sobs. I felt Shursui stroking my hair, and then my heart began to beat a little faster. Strange. Maybe she's sick? Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Kakashi jumping out of the window of the residence. Tuchan followed behind him. Naruto-chan, you need to work as an actress, not a shinobi, Shursui said in my ear. I felt a look full of hatred coming from the pink-haired one. You fool, don't pester Shursui-san, she yelled. I made a face at the loud sound. Shursui hugged me tighter. Do you think that since you are the daughter of the Hokage, everything is allowed to you? Stupid. You didn't even pass the exam, you only became a genin, thanks to your father. It's true what they say, you're a monster. She shouted this with such anger that I felt uneasy. Why? Why does she treat me this way? She doesn't know me at all. A lump formed in my throat, I wanted to cry, but I learned to hold back the tears, so I just squeezed Shursui's vest in my hands. Naruto, don't listen to that chicken. She's just jealous, don't let her hurt you. Have you decided to change your color to please Sasuke-kun and Shursui-san? Well, just know that you remain ugly, just as you were. Sakura hissed, I was about to say something, but the sound of a blow stopped me. I turned my head and saw Sakura with a red cheek and Sasuke with his hand raised. Do not dare. You can't even imagine how much good she has done, she never takes advantage of the fact that she is the Hokage's daughter. She achieved the title of Chunin with her own strength and difficult training. You know nothing about her, but you still insult her. Sasuke said, gradually breaking into a scream, this is the first time I've heard so many words from him. I am grateful to him. Sakura stood with her head down, not looking up at us. Shursui stroked my head soothingly. For once the Uchihas are useful. If they care so much about you, they consider you one of the Uchihas. Be proud that you conquered their icy hearts. Oh, Ku. You confused me. I let go of Shursui and walked over to my father's desk, choosing a mission for the team. Taking out one of the C-rank mission scrolls, I unfolded it and began to read. So, we need to accompany the architect to the land of waves and stay with him until he completes his bridge. We'll set out tomorrow afternoon. Clearly, it's not that difficult, but my intuition tells me that not everything is as simple as it seems. I told the guys about the mission. As soon as Sakura heard about the time of the meeting and the phrase, "Now you're free," she turned around and ran away. I just shook my head. Team sighed. Naru-chan, are you free now? Shursui-san asked. After his question, Sasuke began to glare at him with a menacing look. I wonder why he. I nodded. He already opened his mouth and wanted to say something. But a red-haired man entered the room. He was dressed in a traditional kimono. Seeing me sitting in the Hokage's chair, he chuckled in surprise. Hello, my name is Akeo Uzumaki. Can you tell me where Minato-kun is now? Uncle? But what is he doing here? The Uzumaki quarter is at the other end of Konoha. Aji-san? I asked, causing the Uchiha's jaw to hit the floor. Naruto Harem, nice to meet you. Sorry, I didn't recognize you. He smiled guiltily. I'm sure you used to have blonde hair. So it was. Until Oniai-san repainted my gorgeous hair, I answered. Aji-san came to the table and stood opposite me. Shursui-san watched his uncle's every move. Sasuke did the same. Naruto Harem, you know that your clan training is about to begin? Uncle asked. I arched an eyebrow. I am not a direct heir to the Uzumaki clan, so training should not begin until 2 years later. I nodded. So, direct heir, my dear son died. He was kidnapped and killed a month ago. Therefore, you become the heiress of the clan. Sadness was visible in his voice and eyes. My soul became sad. My brother died. They killed him, depriving him of a wonderful future. I've never seen him, but he's my relative. Sorry. I lowered my head. Hands fell on my shoulders. I raised my head and saw Shursui's soft smile. I felt my ears turn red. No, well, I'm definitely sick. The heat has already risen. Kurama grumbled something about my stupidity. Not at all. I don't understand. Naruto Harem, in the evening I will tell you the exact start time of the training. Now I will go in search of your father. He said, approaching the office door. I nodded. This means I will be taken into the Uzumaki clan. And I won't be able to see my friends. Whine. Naruto, are you free now? Shursui asked. I nodded, getting up from my chair. Then let's go, otherwise Itachi is probably already waiting for us. Let's go destroy the Dango. I said, beaming. Shursui smiled and approached me. I'm with you. He said, standing nearby. Shursui-san and Sasuke exchanged glances. Lightning flashed between them. Okay, Shursui put on one of his fake smiles, which made me flinch. I don't like it when he does that. We left the office and, in tense silence, walked to the Dango Cafe, which belonged to one of the civilians. When we entered the cafe, I saw Itachi at one of the tables. He looks gorgeous. A malicious smile blossomed on my face. Approaching the table, I said. Good morning, Padar-san. At that very moment, I dodged the wooden dango stick. Behind me, I heard 2 sighs of doom. I sat down opposite Itachi-san. Of course I respect him immensely, the genius of the clan and all that, but I will never miss an opportunity to mock him. Good morning, Naru-chan. I see you also decided to change your color, Itachi said, smiling sweetly and twirling another dango stick in his hands. Shursui sat next to me and Sasuke sat next to Itachi. Yes, as you can see. I said, calling the waitress. A brunette with brown eyes approached our table. It felt as if at the slightest breath of wind she would break in half. Looking at me contemptuously, she began to admire the Uchihas. Hearing our orders, she walked away with a flying gait. Yes, this is some kind of magic, I said, plopping my face down on the table. The Uchihas looked at me in surprise. All the girls fall in love with the Uchihas. Look, even like this faggot dressed up. I pointed my finger at Itachi. The three guys sighed tiredly. I didn't understand. Everything, but not everything. One lady, who they actually need, ignores their attempts to seduce her. I didn't understand. Did they fall in love with someone? And they didn't tell me? Not really. I sympathize with them. Now I'm even more confused, dash. Meanwhile, a girl approached the table with an order. Shursue-san, would you like to take a walk with me tonight? She asked, and some strange feeling awoke in me. Suddenly I wanted to strangle the girl. Strange. Fool, it's called jealousy. Clear. I am jealous of Shursue-san as a friend. Stupid. Oh, you fool. Sorry, but I'm busy today, said my friend, but the girl clearly did not intend to give up and said. Then maybe tomorrow, she smiled sweetly. Abomination. Girl, you can see perfectly well that my friend is not interested in your company, Itachi said, eating dango. The girl twisted her face. It's a pity. If you still change your mind, then look for me in this cafe, she smiled sweetly and flew off somewhere. A sigh of relief was heard from Shursue. Naru-chan, she's so scary, he said and hugged me, apparently to show that girl that he was not interested in her. I hugged him, patting his hair with my hand, at the same time calming my heart that had begun to play. Sasuke and Itachi looked at Shursue. It felt like Sasuke was trying to burn a hole in Shursue's back, and Itachi was helping his brother in this difficult matter. Then Shursue let me go, and we started eating dango in huge quantities. We sat in this cafe for about 3 hours. During this time, 3 Uchihas managed to fall in love with all the female representatives who were in this cafe. After that, as a noble princess, accompanied by 3 guards, I was taken to the house, but not even half an hour had passed before Chuji and Shikamaru came to my house. We sat over a cup of tea and pie until the evening. When the guys were already getting ready to go home, Chuji remembered something and began to rummage through his pockets. After about 10 minutes, he took out 2 identical pendants with the sign of Konoha and handed them to me and Shikamaru, and showed exactly the same one, but only on his neck. After putting on the pendant and hugging the guys, I sent them home, because I didn't. Walking late at night. I went to bed noticing that Tuchan was not at home, strange. After changing into pajamas with a funny fox face, I went to bed. And I was already thinking about the next day. But one, which is called fate, did not let me sleep peacefully. Somewhere at 1 in the morning on the first floor, there was the sound of a door opening, and then the fall of 2 bodies. If the first did not bother me at all, then the second vice versa. Jumping out of bed, I ran downstairs. What I saw made me remember where my mother's frying pan was, which she left me as an inheritance. Of course, Tuchan doesn't know about this. So, in the middle of the corridor, Tuchan lay crying, muttering something at the same time. Kakashi stood staggering next to him, clearly wondering how to drag Tuchan's body to the bed without falling himself. I gave up on these drunkards, and went to bed, remembering the words from my mother's diary, beat him in the morning, it will hurt more. I went to bed, not paying attention to the noise below. It would be better if I applied them with a frying pan right away. Author, was drinking with Minato and Kakashi. So, I hope you liked it. Naruto, hit the author on the head with a frying pan. I apologize for this stupidity. Kurama, you beat off the last of her brains. Dodged the thrown frying pan. Naruto, fool, you delayed the continuation for a whole month. Hit poor Azu-chan on the head with a frying pan. Kurama, stupid, she'll become even dumber. Both are idiots. One is more beautiful than the other. Went on a drinking binge. Shursue, it seems I was taken somewhere in the wrong place by Shunshin. Save me. Author, Wimp, enjoy reading TT. Don't hit poor Azu-chan with slippers, hit her better with pillows. Waking up in the morning, I calmly got up and went to change clothes, completely forgetting about the two drunkards. Having changed clothes, I was about to go downstairs and prepare breakfast, but Kurama's voice stopped me. Naruto, you forgot the frying pan. Exactly. I hit my open palm with my fist, thank you for reminding me. I went to a small chest of drawers, took out a key from under the rug and opened the door. I took out Kaa-san's diary and frying pan. She made this frying pan to order, from chakra conducting material, and it turned out to be twice as heavy, thanks to weights. Having hidden the diary back, I armed myself with a frying pan. Going downstairs, I saw Tachan in the same place as yesterday, but Kakashi was sleeping with his face on the bedside table, while the rest of his body was on the floor. Kurama, without hesitation, yelled at everyone's subconscious, which made his head hurt. Grabbing the frying pan tightly, I slammed it on the nightstand, on which, suspecting nothing, my brother was sleeping. Soldiers, get up! I screamed as the poor bedside table shattered into pieces. I began to release ki, feeling my hair begin to rise. Toussaint jumped sharply and took a fighting stance, his brother pretended to be dead. Seeing me, Tuchan turned pale. I began to slowly approach Daddy. By hitting both of them on the head with my mother's frying pan, I calmed down my ki. After that, the three of us went to Tuchan's office. Naruto, you are going to the Uzumaki clan at the end of the Chunin exam. By the way, today you should practice summoning. Whine. Daughter, promise that you will write to me every day, said Tuchan, almost crying. He is so sensitive, Itachi and Shisui were looking for you there. Castration is not enough for them. Then I'll go look for them, Tuchan, and I-san, clean up the house. I left the office and went to Ichiraka Ramen in a great mood. Approaching this wonderful establishment, I saw old man Tucci. The old man is one of those people who doesn't see me as a monster. Good morning, Databeo. I said and sat down on a chair. Seeing me, the old man smiled and said, Good morning, Naru-chan. Are you as usual? I nodded smiling. The old man began to tinker with the ramen, and meanwhile I began to think about which animal to sign the contract with. And I definitely need help. Suddenly, someone closed my eyes. Shisui-san? I asked, but my hands remained in place. Itachi-san? I guessed right, Itachi said, removing his hands from my eyes. Opening my eyes, I saw Shisui and Itachi sitting on either side of me. Good morning, Shisui-san, Itachi-san, I said, smiling at my friends. Good, the guys said in unison. Itachi clearly got used to the role of the princess. Interestingly, this was not due to the fact that Daddy slammed his head against the asphalt. And then an interesting thought came to my mind. Shisui-san, could you help me with some training? I asked. Of course, Shisui said, while the old man placed a bowl of ramen next to me. Oh, this wonderful aroma, I started eating ramen, enjoying the dish of the gods. Two chuckles were heard from the side. My eyebrows went up. Coo, why are they laughing? Did I do something wrong? Apparently they're laughing at your ability to eat ramen. And then I realized that I didn't understand anything. Having finished my portion of ramen, I thanked the old man for the food with a wide smile. I quickly paid and I wanted to do some mischief. I leaned towards Itachi's cheek and kissed him on the cheek. Goodbye, Princess-san. I quickly jumped up from my seat and hid behind Shisui, feeling my ears turn a little red. I need to go to the hospital. Then I said in a whisper, Shisui-san, let's get out of here. A second later, Shisui transported us to the training ground with the help of Shunshin. Itachi's face radiated complete shock for the first seconds, and then he began to radiate a murderous ki. When we found ourselves at the training ground, I started laughing. A second later Shisui joined me. 10 minutes later, we calmed down. So, what kind of training will it be? He asked, sitting down under a tree. I sat down next to him, resting my head on his shoulder. I want to sign a contract with a draft animal. But I don't know how to do this, I said, feeling Sasuke stroking my hair. My heart started beating a little faster. But at the same time, my soul is so calm and comfortable. Do you want to do a random summon? Sasuke asked me, to which I nodded confidently. Let's see who shows up. Sasuke removed his hand from my hair, and I immediately wanted to return it to its place. He stood up and sat down opposite me. Well, there's nothing complicated about it. You need to put these seals together. He showed me a chain of seals, and I repeated them. Then you need to bleed to connect with the contract animal and do this. He bit the skin on his thumb and then put his hand to the ground. Seals spread from his hand. White smoke appeared, a second later it dissipated and a raven sat on Sasuke's hand, looking at me with interest. Clear, I said and made the necessary seals. Having released a little chakra into my teeth, I bit my finger so that blood came from there and put my hand to the ground. Seals crawled from my hand and smoke appeared. Meanwhile, one parasite prayed in my head. Not snakes, not snakes, not snakes. Calm down, I already have a headache from your prayers. When the smoke cleared, I could see a beautiful fox. He had unusual colored fur. Usually foxes are red, but this one was a beautiful black color that sparkled in the light of the sun. His eyes were red as a ruby. I involuntarily fell in love with him. I'm proud of you, little one. This call is the best. Thanks, I know. The fox, apparently, did not expect that I would be his conscript. I don't know whether this is good or bad. Naruto-chan, you did great. Did I call from the first time? Sasuke did not have time to finish his odes of praise in honor of my beloved, when the fox interrupted him. Who is my conscript? He asked. Sasuke was initially taken aback, as I understood from his reaction. But his raven sat on my shoulder and began to examine the fox. It was I who called you, Naruto Namike Uzumaki. Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. I said, and together with the raven I began to carefully study the fox's emotions. Now it's the fox's turn to go nuts. What? The fox shouted, staring at me in shock. You urgently need to go with me to the misty forest of Megabioka. Sasuke and I dropped our jaws to the floor. Why do they need me? Wait. Kurama, don't say that you destroyed their forest. Okay, I will not. Come on, I'm kidding, I only built one house there, maybe two. My face suddenly turned pale. Do they really want revenge? No, it's just one house. Maximum two. Sasuke-san, could you wait for me here while I go with him to the misty forest? I asked, watching as the raven flew smoothly onto Sasuke's head. Sasuke himself nodded, sitting more comfortably under the tree. Honestly, my heart was filled with excitement and fear of the unknown. But curiosity does its job. I got to my feet and approached the fox, whose name I never learned. Now close your eyes, I'll take you to the forest, said the fox, showing confidence with his entire appearance. I closed my eyes. Now you can open them. I opened my eyes and felt a little dizzy. When my vision stabilized, I saw a giant wooden temple, decorated with gold. In front of the entrance to the temple there were 9 statues of foxes. All of these foxes raised their muzzles to the sky, looking with envy at the free birds. For some reason, there was a strong tingling sensation in my chest. The statues are made of stone and are about 2.5 meters high. The fox did not rush me and gave me the opportunity to examine them. What is your name? I asked a question, approaching one of the statues. My name is Kuyomi. I'm a fighting fox, but I still need to grow up a little. The fox answered me. I put my hand to the statue, and for some reason, my heart was filled with unbearable sadness. A second later, I realized that I saw Kurama in this statue. Let's go, they're already waiting for us. The fox hurried me and went to the entrance to the temple. I removed my hand and followed him. When Kuyomi and I approached the doors, they opened on their own, letting us out into a spacious hall. I started looking at it. To be honest, it was empty. There were only foxes, and what they were sitting on. In the center of the farthest wall sat a truly huge fox. which inspired fear with its aura. Smaller foxes sat on the sides along the wall. "Elder, I found the child of prophecy," Kuyomi said, and I felt my eyebrows creep up. "What child of prophecy?" After the words of my new acquaintance, everyone in the hall began to make noise, and a spark of excitement appeared in the elder's eyes. For some reason, he didn't remind me much of the elder. By the way, this elder is black, just like Kuyomi. But everyone else is red. "Be silent." The elder's rough bass voice sounded. All the advisors fell silent. I myself felt uneasy from his overwhelming key and tone of voice. So, he continued, "Child, please introduce yourself." "My name is Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. I am the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails." I introduced myself. There was silence in the hall. "Naru-chan, do you know the history of our clan and the prophecy for which we live?" the elder asked, looking into my eyes. I shook my head, waiting for the story to begin. After all, even upon entering the temple, I realized that this place is somehow connected with Kurama. "Naruto. Could you promise me that you won't hate me after his story?" "I promise. I will always be by your side and will never hate you." "Naru-chan, our story began a very long time ago, and none of those present will remember when. Our clan has always been closely connected with the Uzumaki clan. During the reign of the Uzukage, our clan flourished, and many sought to sign a contract with us. But that was a long time ago." The elder began to speak, his voice sounding quiet and calm. "Recently, not a single shinobi has signed an agreement with us, except for the head of the Uzumaki clan, and all because in the past we helped Kyubi. We revered him as a deity, and when he appeared before us, we were ready to carry out any of his orders. This was a mistake. We failed to see that his mind was completely captured by hatred." He fell silent for a few seconds, giving me the opportunity to comprehend all of the above. Kurama can be understood. He was betrayed so many times, and was seen only as a weapon. Who in his place would not become embittered? And then the war began under the leadership of Kyubi no Yoko. During the war, a lot of our population died. And Kyubi was caught and subdued, and it was done by none other than Madara Uchiha. After the Kyubi was sealed into Mito Uzumaki, people from the clan still entered into contracts with our clan because of tradition. But otherwise they were, and still are, afraid of us. After the almost complete destruction of the Uzumaki clan, they forgot about us. He finished his story, and I began to diligently think about the history of the clan. Yes, I still don't know much, but this information would probably make anyone run, because these are the minions of the Kyubi no Yoko himself. But here's the catch, I'm this very demon's best friend. Have you seen the statues in front of the sanctuary? I nodded to the elder's question. These statues symbolize Kyubi, who so desired freedom and once upon a time believed in people and that they have good hearts. Now you know about the mess that I stirred up, being that selfish and idiot. Wow, did the great Kyubi no Yoko himself admit his guilt? Okay, don't worry, everyone makes mistakes. Moreover, you have changed. And there is people's fault here too. I only changed because of you. You are my savior and my best friend. Thank you. What prophecy? Does it have something to do with me and Kurama? I asked, watching the elder and not paying attention to everyone else. I also noticed that the elder is somehow too young for this title. The prophecy says, one day we will be called by a bright girl who has a dark demon inside her. And we will train her together with the frogs. And she will turn this world upside down. He will save those who have been swallowed up by darkness and light the way for them. But if she chooses another path, then everything will plunge into darkness and there will be no salvation for anyone. So, Naru-chan, do you agree to enter into a contract with us and write your name in the scroll, and then become the keeper of the scroll and the fox Sannin? He finished speaking. Frogs, this is the call of Tuchan and Arrow Sannin. Lucky, but can someone have two summons at the same time? Okay, let's skip this question. Yes, I want to conclude a contract with you and become Sannin in the future. I answered, feeling happiness spilling inside. I know for sure that I did the right thing by agreeing. The elder nodded. Kuyomi, who had been nearby all this time, disappeared, but appeared some time later, with a scroll on his back. You must write your name on this scroll with your blood, Kuyomi said. I opened the scroll. It has people's names written in a row. The last name is my uncle's. Repeating the same procedure with my finger as when calling, I wrote my name on the scroll, and then, following the example of others, I painted my palm red and made an imprint on the scroll. I think that's enough for today. It's time for you to go home, Naruto-chan, said the elder, and then added, Kuyomi, take her home. The fox standing next to me nodded, and a moment later I was already standing at the training ground, but without Kuyomi. I sighed. What an adventure. I started looking around, looking for Sasuke. There was a truly idiotic smile on my face. A few moments later, I finally found this sneezing owl, sleeping under a tree in the shade. I quietly walked up to Sasuke and squatted down next to him. And he's cute when he sleeps. Biju, get rid of this snotty vanilla. I haven't even had time to think yet. Stop. You fleeridin' ass. Are you messing with my thoughts again? It's not my fault that someone thinks too loudly. After Kurama's words, my face turned a little red. I wonder why. A click on my nose brought me back from my thoughts to reality. I opened my eyes wide and stared at the intruder of my peace. Welcome back, Naruto-chan, Sasuke said and smiled. For some reason my ears turned red. Are you by any chance sick? Your face is red. Having said this, the Uchiha touched his hand to my forehead. Sasuke-san, I'm fine, no need to worry, I said and looked away. And really, what's happening to me? Somewhere in the back of my mind a loud, dissatisfied muttering was heard. Okay. How did everything go? He asked. I signed a contract with them and they are very good, I said with a smile on my face, sitting down next to Sasuke. I also heard their story, and I plan to become Sannin in the future. I said this with a wide smile on my face, and suddenly I felt a gentle touch on my hair. I'm happy for you, Sasuke said, getting up from the ground and offering me his hand. Having accepted help, I followed him up. So, I think training is over for today. Ugh. I still need to prepare for the mission. Goodbye, Sasuke-san, I said and ran towards the house. A bad feeling appeared in my heart. This mission will not end well. I stopped near the house and sighed. Entering the house, I saw that the remains of the nightstand had been removed. I smiled and went up to my room. Well, we need to start getting ready for the mission. Kurama, there's no point in arguing with you, dash. And Naruto, meanwhile, devoured all of Azu's chocolate. Some people don't care, I won't point a finger. Root POV. I never understood the society around me. But the world around me didn't try to understand me either. Hatred, evil, joy, love, what are these feelings? I don't know the answer, but by observing my goal, I'm slowly starting to understand. She is the daughter of the Hokage, but in the eyes of others, she looks like a monster. People are afraid of her, and that's why they hate her. I can't understand this either, because there's nothing to hate about this girl. She looks like a princess who is hated by her own people, but at the same time there are always several knights around her who are ready to give their lives for her. I don't know if I can be considered one of them. Sometimes, sitting on a tree branch near her window and watching, I begin to envy her. Envy is one of the first feelings that she awakened in me. I wanted to speak, feel, and simply live just as freely. I probably already have hundreds of portraits of her, which depict her emotions. In some strange way, she awakens long-forgotten sensations in me, and this makes me scared, but at the same time, an unknown warmth spreads inside me. And here I am again sitting in her room and drinking green tea, listening to her, sometimes nodding and carefully watching her face. You probably want to ask how I actually ended up here? It's simple. While I was sitting and watching her get ready for the mission, she opened the window and said, "Come in, Bird-san, long time no see." Well, I jumped into the room under her quiet laughter. Afterwards, I was given a cute mug with a seagull design on it. I don't want to go on this mission, she said and sat down next to him on the bed. I tilted my head, asking a silent question. She sighed heavily, looking out the window.